Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the Halfday Garment Carry-On Roller. And this is a really interesting solution for people who still need to travel with a suit or nicer outfits. I thankfully don't have to travel with that type of apparel that regularly, but I still travel to weddings and there's sometimes business trips where I do actually need a suit. And so this felt like a great alternative to some of those large garment bags that I see people traveling with sometimes. I've used a duffel bag in the past. It had a pretty similar sort of functionality, but having it in a roller form factor that I could also use as a travel bag just seemed like a great alternative. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test this over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other travel bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, this has a fairly minimal appearance, but it still has a pretty functional vibe. To me, it kind of feels like a hybrid between a duffel bag and a soft shell roller, and so it's still something that I think is fairly subdued and is going to blend in well into a lot of different environments and work for all types of travel. And then as far as the materials, this feels really solidly built. The exterior fabric is a 1680D ballistic nylon, which has held up very well for me over the years on a variety of bags. So great to see something rugged like that being used, considering that this is a travel bag that can get tossed around. And then it's also going to offer a nice amount of weather resistance. It is a little bit on the heavier side, coming in at around 7 pounds, which tends to be the case for roller bags in this size range, but I would have hoped that with the materials here that it could be potentially a little bit lighter. Still, it does feel like you get a lot of durability for that weight. And then beyond that, you have some zippers that work quite smoothly all throughout the bag. I didn't see any branding on them, so I don't believe that they are YKK, but I haven't had any issues so far. Continuing along the outside of the bag, on the front you have the Halfday logo here at the bottom. On the sides you have a couple of attachment points that might be a good spot to clip something on with a carabiner. And then you have a very well reinforced handle at the top. You've got a nice kind of comfort here, seatbelt like material, easy to get your hand in there. And then you have the reinforced kind of studs here, and you have a handle on the side as well. And so both of these use the same material, and this is going to be super helpful for loading this into an overhead storage compartment, into a trunk. And so this makes it very easy to grab. And you also have at the top the nice telescoping handle that extends out so that you can easily pull this. You can adjust it. It's also going to be able to hold an additional bag if you have a luggage pass-through on your backpack or your briefcase. You can put it on here comfortably, and then that collapses in without any issue. On the bottom of the bag, you have some very rugged and smooth working wheels. These are kind of a rollerblade style that is going to be great for all types of surfaces. So if you're taking this on rougher or more uneven surfaces, it'll continue to roll smoothly as you're pulling the bag behind you. So these have worked great so far. And then you also have this piece on the bottom that can double as a handle or allow you to stand the bag up next to you. And also on the bottom of the bag, you have these rails here to help kind of keep everything protected when you're placing it down to access your stuff. Moving into the capacity, this comes in at about 45 liters, and I was really impressed with how much I was able to store here, particularly with the softer structure of the bag. It just felt like it kind of adapted around everything that I was storing. I also like that these bags just are able to squeeze into slightly tighter spaces compared to a hard shell roller. And so, definitely more than enough space here for a couple of weeks of travel. I saw on the company site, they said about 5 days. And I suppose if you're traveling with a suit and some of the other bulkier items that might go with those types of outfits, it might take up more space. But for my typical packing style, this is definitely a week to 2 weeks with the amount of space that's offered here. And this is a little bit larger than what I would be comfortable carrying onto an international airline that's going to have stricter limits. Also with the weight, when you fill something this big up, it's going to be fairly heavy. But even on the domestic airlines, I think this can work on some of the larger, more lenient ones, but the height in particular just feels a little taller than what I would normally feel comfortable carrying on without any sort of worries. So I think it can work, but you'll want to make sure to check the airline that you're traveling with. Keep an eye out for that. And if you're just looking for something that's going to offer a lot of space, then this one definitely has that covered. Jumping into the organizational options, I was happy to see that you have a couple of small quick access pockets. On the side, you have a zippered pocket that's going to be a good spot for something a little slimmer and smaller. Here I have a power bank. as well as my AirPods. So good that you have enough space for those types of things. Nice kind of lighter lining here to give you additional visibility. And then on the lid, you have an additional zippered pocket that kind of blends in there. And then this one also offers a nice amount of space, even a little bit of volume here. So it could be something that would work for packable jackets, some toiletries. At the moment, I'm using this to store my sunglasses, as well as a charging cable. But with those items in there, I still had a little bit of leftover space. And then moving into the main compartment, you do have a lockable zipper here to give you a little bit more security while traveling. And then the zipper here can be opened up to use this like a duffel if you're actually just wanting to access something from the top. You don't have to open it all the way yet. And this is nice for accessing some of these items near the top, and you're not necessarily trying to get into the garment holder part, which we'll take a closer look at in a second. And so I have my typical loadout here with some extra items just because I had a lot of extra space. And so you can reach in, grab stuff from here, but the zipper also opens up further, which is what allows it to work as a garment bag. And so it goes down, and then you can really open this up so that you can see the space. We'll talk through the items that I have here first. And so it's a fairly modular layout. I have here my toiletry bag, a Peak Design packing cube. Then I have a couple of compression packing cubes, one from Arquito, another one from Tortuga. And then I have an extra pair of shoes here, my Tom, and an additional packing cube, and my Peak Design packing cubes here. So I have the small compression packing cube as well as the larger one. And so that's a whole lot of stuff that was able to fit in there pretty comfortably, and it still didn't feel like the bag was completely packed out. Now, with that loadout here, I didn't yet have the suit in the garment bag portion. I just wanted to show kind of how it would work as a regular travel bag. But even with the suit on the inside, it was, still able to hold an impressive amount. And so now with the bag a little bit emptier, we can take a closer look at some of the other organizational options. So you do have a zippered pocket here on the back, and where I'm currently storing my collapsible nomadic laundry basket, because if I have extra space, this is one of those things I love to take with me. And then you have these dedicated elastic compartments on each side that are large enough to store a shoe. And so you can put one shoe on each side, and you have, the bungee here, the elasticity to kind of secure everything. And I love how that helps keep the items separated and organized. Now with the compartment emptier, we can take a closer look at the garment storage. And so you have this section that opens up, and it's got this flap at the top. You can unzip it, and then this is where you could actually store your suit or some of your nicer dresses. And this, I really like this way to store them because you can kind of expand it out and it will fold around the bag to help prevent wrinkling. And so garment bags are something that have been around for a while. I've even had a duffel bag in the past that I showcased that had this type of a functionality, but I love how it's incorporated into the roller bag itself. And then the system works well, so you can put items in here, and then you have these loops at the top. You can pair them with hangers if you need, and you can zip it up. And you have this flap here to secure it, along with a zippered pocket here that you can use to store smaller accessories, cufflinks, jewelry, potentially a watch. And then you have zippered pocket here that you can use to store potentially tie, other accessories, pocket squares, and an elastic mesh pocket. Again, maybe just store some belts, other accessories. And so this is really kind of designed with the traveler in mind, who's gonna need all of the things that kind of go with an outfit like a suit. And so that's really great to see that that's all been considered. And if you're not gonna be traveling with that, you can still get a lot of use out of the organization that's built in here. You can use this to store other types of apparel that are just either gonna be a little bit larger or that you want to keep separate from the other items in the bag. And it's just an intuitive system that, I think gets the job done. And so overall, very flexible and spacious bag. And if you're looking for something that's gonna be durable, that's gonna work well with a lot of different types of outfits, and this is gonna be a really cool option to consider. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Halfday Garment Carry-On Roller over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site. It's gonna come in at around $250, so definitely an investment. It's always interesting to compare price points for luggages given the wide range that's available. There's some luggages that come in at under $100 and some that go over $1,000. And so you have a pretty wide range there. And this feels like something that's solidly built and is also gonna offer a unique feature set, but there's going to be some other great travel bags in this price range that may be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, it was tough to think of one-to-one alternatives as I haven't used a ton of these garment style bags in general. And so I really thought about some of the roller bags that I've had a chance to use, which is what I will typically take with me if I do find myself traveling with a suit or just more clothing in general. And so one of the items that first comes to mind is the Bellroy Transit Carry-On, which has been one of my favorite new roller bags that has come out recently. It has, a modern hardshell roller style, very solidly built, smooth working wheels. The weight on that one is going to be great for a hardshell roller, and then I like the layout that it has. It's a pretty simple layout. It's got the cool kind of built-in packing cube system, but mostly I like that it allows you to store a ton of stuff, and then it also has the ability to be repaired on some of the key components, which is a cool, kind of bonus. And so if you're looking for a hardshell roller style bag that's going to just hold up well, then that's going to be an awesome option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the Mystery Ranch Mission Wheelie, which is a very rugged bag that feels almost like a hybrid between a duffel and a roller bag. So the wheels are going to offer similar style as this one as far as something that you can pull behind you. Very rugged wheels, a nice telescoping handle, and then the layout on that one is just very spacious. It's got a large main compartment with a couple of quick access pockets on the sides that are going to be great for separating out some of your gear. It also uses very rugged, weather-resistant materials. It's offered in a couple of different sizes. I really like the 45-liter size, which was, just closer to something that was carry-on friendly, kind of like this one. But if you need more space and something that you want to check, those larger options are going to be worth considering. And, if you're just looking for something that's going to be very rugged in general and give you a lot of flexibility, then that's going to be an excellent option to keep in mind. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Filson Duffel Bag Hybrid. It's a little different than this, but to me, just still a very classy travel solution. It's gonna come in at around 40 to 45 liters, so it can hold an impressive amount, but it doesn't feel overwhelmingly large. It's got a top-loading layout that makes it very easy to kind of see everything at once. You have a dedicated laptop compartment, a shoe compartment to keep your shoes or your dirty clothes separate from the main area. You have a quick access pocket, and then it's really nice that you can carry it as a backpack when it's a little bit heavier, but it does include the duffel straps and the handle. So, you can use it in a lot of different ways. I think that it looks great, and if you're looking for something rugged with more of a heritage aesthetic, then that's gonna be a really cool option to take a look at. With that being said, the Garment Carry-On Roller holds up very well against all those options, and although I do wish that it was smaller so that it was a safer option on more airlines, I think that this is going to still offer a very spacious, flexible solution. I like the unique layout that allows it to hold some of those more kind of sensitive clothing items like your suits. And so if you're somebody who travels for business or just needs something that can accommodate those types of things, and you also want something that's going to offer a nice amount of space and that's easy to roll around, then this is going to be a really interesting option to consider. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Garment Roller and how it compares to some of the other popular travel bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.